ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुकुं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Wonderful. Thank you for joining in. Thank you, Naresh Prabhu, for joining in. Thank you, Amita Mataji. So, we covered to verse 16 last week, which, so we covered food, we covered sacrifice, we started with austerity from text 14. So, austerity was mentioned, austerity of body consists. What is the austerity of body? What is the austerity of speech, which was text 15? And then the austerities of the mind. So that's what we discussed so far. We are starting with text 17 today, and we will probably try to cover as many verses as possible today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om,
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Shraddhaya Paraya Taptam.
Shruddhaya Paraya Taptam.
तपस्तत्त्रिविधं नरैः
Tapastadvi Vidam Narahe.
आफलङ्काश्यभिर्युक्तैः
Apalankakshi Yukte.
सात्विकं परिचाक्षते.
Katvikam Parishakshate.
Can you read the translation, Prabhuji?
Prabhuji, I mean,
No problem. This threefold austerity performed with trans.
Prabhuji, sorry, Prabhuji, are you in any of the room, Prabhuji, here in temple? Or
Yeah,
no, right?
Tulsi room. Tulsi room.
Tulsi room.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
thought.
I didn't know you're here in the temple. I thought you're. Please come on.
I thought you were at home, Prabhuji.
No. How come
I was sitting here from 7:30.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, bro. I should have mentioned.
I didn't see you crossing, so.
No, I just went little, came little earlier.
Okay.
Thank you. This threefold austerity performed with transcendental faith. What are these threefold austerities? We talked about austerity of body, austerity of body, speech, and then austerity of mind. So this is in continuation with that. This threefold austerity performed with transcendental faith. What kind of faith? We all have a faith in various things. Like for an example, when we go to barber, the barber cuts the hair, right? Whenever, so you have faith on it, right? When you drive the car, I was just always remember, for an example, you're driving in the leftmost lane, you're driving at the speed of say 80, You have a faith, the other guy will not all of a sudden come on the left hand side, right? So this is all faith, but this is not the faith we are mentioning about. We are talking about the transcendental faith, faith at the level, faith at the level of spirituality, right? Krishna consciousness. So perform with transcendental faith by man, not expecting material benefits, but engage only for the sake of supreme, is called austerity in goodness. What is austerity in goodness? What is a tapasya in goodness? That we perform the austerity of body, we perform the austerity of mind, we perform the austerity of speech. For what? For pleasing Krishna. Like for an example, when I was like I used to work there at the time, like in my hometown, or just finished my college. I used to do Shravan month. Now, what was the reason behind Shravan month? Not to please Krishna. I want to show how austerity I'm doing to prove out things. That's not austerity. That is not the austerity mode of goodness, right? That is what Krishna is explaining here. Prabhupada is explaining here in the purport, saying that it should not be done for any material benefits. That is what the goodness, austerities and goodness. Now we will read text 18, which will talk about austerity in mode of passion and ignorance. Satkaramana pujarartham
सत्कारामानपूजार्थं
tapodambena chaiva yat
तपोदम्बेन चैव यत्
kriyate tad iha proktam
क्रियते तदिह प्रोक्तं
rajasam chalam adruvam.
राजसं चलम् अध्रुवम्.
So what kind of austerity is in the mode of passion? Penance performed out of pride and sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent. Tapasya performed by Hiranyakashipu, thousands of years tapasya. What kind of tapasya? This body is eaten by a ant. He's standing on one leg, not for 1 year, not for a month, not for a day, not for 1 minute. For thousands of years, he's standing like that, right? What does that mean? He is doing tapasya. But why is he doing tapasya? Not to please the Supreme Lord, which we read in the previous verse, right? Because what is tapasya and mode of goodness? That I don't expect any material result. But if I expect my pride, if I'm expecting respect, and if I'm expecting honor and worship, that is passion, right? What is the challenge with that? That penance is neither stable nor permanent, right? That is a very important part. Prabhupada mentions in the purport, sometimes penance and austerity are executed to attract people and receive honor, respect, and worship from others. Person in the mode of passion arranges to be worshipped by subordinates and let them wash their feet and offer riches. Lot of people you will see in India. Lot of people who maintain that position or perform austerity to attract people because they want that we all are here in the material world because we want to become God. So they want to extend it to the next level. I'm whatever I'm maintaining my material existence is, I want to be the controller. Yes, it is also trying to think that I'm supreme Lord, but this is even higher than that. We want worship. We want people worshiping us, right? So that is such people, such arrangement artificially made by performance considered to be in the mode of passion, right? Now the next verse we will talk about tapasya, which is performed in the mode of ignorance. Mudagrahanit manoyat
मूढाग्राहणे ग्राहेण मत्मने
pidaya kriyate tapaha
दया क्रियते तपः
parashyota sadhanartham va
परसोत साधनार्थं वा
tattamasam udaratam.
तत्तामसमुदारतं दाहतं.
Now, what kind of penance? The penance performed out of foolishness, with self torture or to destroy or injure others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. What you see today, terrorism. Terrorism is religion. They do it out of religion because they see if I die myself, if I kill people like that, I'll go back to heavens. You understand what is that done? Self torture. I'm losing my life and I'm destroying others, right? What kind of penance is that? This is a mode of ignorance, right? There are instances of foolish penance undertaken by demons like Hiranyakashipu performed austere penances to become immortal and kill the demigod. I was giving this example in Passion. Prabhupada gives an example, tamasic. Why? because he was not just trying to be immortal, which is for his pride, he also wanted to kill demigods. So that went to the next level. He prayed to Brahma for such things, but ultimately he was killed by Supreme Personality of Godhead. Coming back to the verse connected to that, neither it is permanent or doesn't last long, right? That's what we talked about. So any questions so far?
Probably just general,
Hmm.
I mean, maybe a
Hmm.
stupid question.
Hmm.
So the ignorance we are talking about,
Hmm.
right? Probably, I mean,
Hmm.
even I saw my friends, whoever, like, when the Ayodhya Ram Mandir built, right?
Hmm.
Everybody was keeping Lord Sri Rama
Hmm.
status
Hmm.
in WhatsApp, but
Hmm.
they never go to any temple,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
I mean, they do all the stuff, all the
Hmm.
bad stuff, or
Hmm.
whatever. But
Hmm.
still, on that, when happened, so is it a comes under same, probably the ignorance, like,
It comes in passion.
just there. I mean,
Even sometimes it could not fall into three categories if I'm just being a pseudo devotee, just show off,
sure,
which is like go with the wind. It's a go with the flow, which is basically whatever other people are doing. I have nothing to do with whether Lord Ram is there or not there. How Lord Ram is, they do not even know that what is Ramayana and all that stuff, but they want to go with the flow. Everyone is doing, I will do it. So it doesn't fall in any of these three categories, but mostly in passion. Because what I'm thinking is, I want to show off other people, or look at me, I'm religious, right? That's the problem. So it just falls into Sattva Gun. Even at devotee level, probably we have some expectation. I want to be very honest that my health should go well, my job should go well. When recession comes, we also get, "Arey, what will happen to me?
yeah,
What will happen to me?" Right? It happens. So why I'm doing bhakti, I have some expectation that everything goes well. Even if I know that that's not the bhakti, okay, no problem with that. Being bhakta is important. Even if we are at mode of passion, slowly, slowly, when you know what is the healthy state, you want to come to that state. You don't want to be sick forever. Currently, I know what is my state, so that is sickness. I have this, or like for an example, I have a cold and I have these symptoms, which means I have this disease, right? So, what is the healthy state? The healthy state is I don't have cold, I don't have a fever, I don't have this, which means a healthy state. So, we need to know what is bhakti and goodness, so that first and foremost thing, I should know where I stand, and I should understand what is the true goal looks like, the North Star, right? I want to get towards that. So I aspire for that. I want to get there one day. I don't want to be like other people who just come for show up, right? So
yeah,
that's important. Does it answer,
yeah.
bro? Beautiful. Okay. We will take the next verse, which is text 20. Datavyam iti yaddanam
Datavyam iti yaddanam
diyate anupakarine
diyate anupakarine
देशे काले च पत्रे च
deshe kale cha patre cha
तद्दानं सात्विकं स्मृतम्.
taddanam satvikam smutam.
Now it is starting with charity. Charity in mode of business, charity in mode of passion, and charity in mode of ignorance. Charity given out of duty without expectation of return. What do you do? Charity you do out of duty and without expectation of return at proper time and place. And to a worthy person is considered to be in mode of goodness. Not one. Okay, let's see conditions. First and foremost thing, it should be done out of duty. I shouldn't expect anything in return. It should be done at proper time and place, and it should be given to a right person. That is called a mode of goodness. Very difficult. Which means I should know how that person is utilizing that money for. Am I making sense?
So the only way is giving to temple.
I'll tell. There are further verses coming, which is how do we take care of that piece. So we'll get to know. In the Vedic literature, charity given to a person engaged in spiritual activities is recommended. So not necessary temple, but you know someone who's building the temple or who is engaging some activities, like for an example, you're sponsoring Bhagavad Gita, you're sponsoring Bhagavatam, that is charity, right? There is no recommendation for giving charity indiscriminately. Spiritual perfection is always a consideration. Therefore, charity is recommended to be given at a place of pilgrimage. You see, holy places, when they go to give a lot of charity. If you remember the previous times, nowadays people don't even go to pilgrimage, but when you go there, you should spend money like that. It's a beautiful analogy which is given. You see clouds in the monsoon season, right? So it says the rich person should do charity so much, even sometimes losing all his possessions, like a cloud. You see, cloud doesn't think, oh, I have this much of water, I'll only pour this much, I'll keep some with me. No, whatever it has, when the monsoon cloud comes in, it has huge amount of water, right? It pours everything and then moves forward. That is how the charity should be. Again, we are not at that place, but that's how it is said in Shastras. Given in the place of pilgrimage at the lunar or solar eclipse, because those are considered to be inauspicious time. At the end of a month, or to a qualified Brahmana or Vaishnava, or in temples. Such charity should be given without any consideration of return. Charity to the poor is sometimes given out of compassion, but if a poor man is not worth giving charity to, then there is no spiritual advancement. So I'm giving it to a beggar, and then he goes and take the bottle of wine. So I will get this karma. That is the charity, right? That's a side effect of charity. In other words, indiscriminate charity is not recommended in Vedic literature. We will read further to clarify more doubts on that front. Let's read 721. Yattu pratyuyapakartham
यत्तु प्रत्युपकारार्थं
phalam uddishya va punaha
फलम् उद्दिश्य वा पुनः
dhyate cha parikshiltam
दीयते च परिक्लिष्टम्
taddanam rajasam smritam.
तद्दानं राजसंस्मृतम्.
Charity in mode of passion. Charity performed with the expectation of some return, or with desire for fruitive results, or in grudging mood, is said to be in charity in mode of passion.
Politicians.
Politician or a lot of rich people, they open hospitals, put their name and all that stuff. They create that water donating and all that stuff. They put their name.
Yeah, even in India, probably in my place. During the election, they'll paint a temple and
Huh.
fix all the.
Correct. What is that expectation in return? Hey, people will understand like that, right? That's the thing. So that is charity in the mode of passion. Charity is sometimes performed for elevation to heavenly planets, or sometimes with great trouble, with repentance afterwards. Why have I spent so much money in this way? Like after charity. Charity is also sometimes given under some obligation. Oh, I had to give it because like that. These kind of charity are said to be given in mode of passion. There are many charitable foundations which offer their gifts to institution where sense gratification goes on. Such charities are not recommended. For an example, Ganesh Puja. People take money and then they spend in drinking and all that stuff, and then playing this thing and on they play gamble and all that stuff on that. That is passion, right? Though they are asking for that purpose, but they are utilizing it for wrong purpose, right? Now next one, which is charity in the mode of ignorance. Adesha kale yaddanam
प्रदेशकाले यद्दानम्
apatrebhyascha diyate
आपत्रेभ्यश्च दीयते
asatकृtam avajnatam
असत्कृतम् अज्ञातं
tattamasam udharatam.
तत्तामसं उदाहृतम्.
And charity performed at impure place at the improper time, exactly opposite to sattva, to unworthy person or without proper attention and respect, is said to be in mode of ignorance. Contribution for indulgence and intoxication and gambling are not encouraged here. That sort of contribution is in the mode of ignorance. Such charity is not beneficial, rather, sinful persons are encouraged. Similarly, if a person gives charity to a suitable person but without respect and without attention, that sort of charity is also in set in mode of darkness. So we also have to have a right mood when we donate, right? So this is Sattva, Raja, and Tamo. Now we will read further ahead on that. Om Tat Sat Iti Nirdesho.
ॐ तत् ॐ तत्सदिति
It's a
निर्देशो
very important verse. Brahmanaste Veda Smrita.
ब्रह्मणास्त्रे विदस्मृता
Brahmanastena Vedascha.
ब्रह्मणास्तेन वेदाश्च
Yajnascha with Vihita Pura.
यज्ञाश्च विहिता पुरा.
From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. What is these three words? Om Tat Sat. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas. and during sacrifice for the satisfaction of Supreme. Now, what is in it for us? We will read. It has been explained that penance, sacrifice, charity, and foods are divided into three categories. We have been reading goodness, passion, and ignorance. But whether first class, second class, or third class, they are all conditioned, contaminated by material modes of nature, sattva, rajo, and tamo. When they are aimed at Supreme, which is offering to Krishna, Om Tat Sat, the Supreme Personality of God, the Eternal, they become means for spiritual elevation. Now, a really important part. Whether I'm doing charity in Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna, it will give me results in this material world. If I want results beyond this material world, it has to be offered to Vishnu. How it has to be offered to Vishnu, which means even if I'm giving food donation, it is a prasad. So where did you donate? You donated to Krishna. And then ultimately other got benefit out of it. You got my point, right? So there is no piety or impiety behind it. We want to, when before coming to Krishna consciousness, our understanding was we want to be pious. Am I making sense? Why pious? If I do good karma, I'll get good results. But bhakti is not about piety. Bhakti is beyond piety. I don't want a good or bad results. I want to get away with the results because as long as I have results, I have to be in the material world. I don't want to be. That's why we want to go beyond piety. Make sense? Nice to have at the platform of piety so that we can go beyond that versus being unpious, right? When they are aimed at the supreme, Tam Om Tatsa, Supreme Personality of Godhead, the eternal, they become means for spiritual elevation. In the scriptural injunction, such as objective is indicated. These three words, Om Tatsas, particularly indicate the absolute truth, Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who acts without following the regulative of scriptures will not attain absolute truth. He will get some temporary result, but not the ultimate end of life. Right? The conclusion is that the performance of charity, sacrifice, and penance must be done in mode of goodness, minimum. Performed in the mode of passion and ignorance, they are certainly inferior in quality. The three words Om Tats are uttered in conjunction with the holy name of Supreme Lord. For an example, Om Tad Vishnu. Whenever a Vedic hymn or holy name of the Supreme Lord is uttered, Om is added. You see that? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right? This is the indication of Vedic literature. These three words are taken from Vedic hymns. Om iti etat brahmano nedishtam nama nam indicates the first goal. The tad tvam asi indicates the second goal. And sad eva saumya indicates the third goal. Combined, they become Om Tat Sat. So, whenever we do charity, for an example, it's very difficult for me. Of course, we don't have to give it in passion and ignorance, but even in goodness, when we give, we should say Hari Om Tat Sat. When you give that, Krishna, I'm offering it to you. It's very important. Coming back to the first point which you were asking. Formally, when Brahma, the first created living being, performed sacrifice, indicated these three words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So we will read further on this verse 24. Tasmad Om Iti Udahartya
Tasmat Vam Yudahartya
Yajnadana Tapakriyaha
Yagnadana Tapakriyaha
Pravartante Vidanokta
Pravartante Vidanokta
Satatam Brahmavadinam.
Satatam Brahmavadinam.
Therefore, the transcendentalist undertaking performances for sacrifice, charity, and penance in accordance with scriptural regulation begin always with Om to attain the Supreme. Right? This is what I was mentioning about. Whether I am performing sacrifice or charity or penance. Why am I doing? For pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Right? So Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam, the lotus feet of Vishnu are the supreme devotional platform. The performance of everything on behalf of Supreme Personality of Godhead assures the perfection of all activity. Make sense? Very important verses. Text 25. Tad iti anabhisandaya
Tad iti anabhisandaya
phalam yajna tapakriya
Phalam Yagna Tapakriyaha
dana kriyascha vividaha
Dana Kriyascha Vivida
kriyante moksha kankshibhi
Kriyante Moksha Kankshibhihi
without desiring fruit results. one should perform various kind of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the own word tat. We read this just few words back. We were talking about without desiring any results, which is goodness. But now performing any of this sacrifice, penance, charity with word Om Tat Sat. The purpose of such activities to get free from material entanglement. This is a very deep point, bro. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, okay, okay, sorry, it's just showing up here. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, the understanding was not there to understand what to do charity, how to do tapasya, like I was mentioning about doing tapasya during the month of
Shravan.
Shravan. Purpose is not to please Vishnu, and that just defeats the purpose. Even if I do it at the right place, but then I'll get the pious results and I'll keep going in this material world. I don't want to be here, right? That's the whole point. Correct? So that's the point. To be elevated to spiritual position, one should not act for any material gain. Act should be performed for ultimate gain of Vishnu. Okay. So with that, we come to text 26, 27. I'll move it here.
Yeah.
Sadbhave sadhu bhave cha
Sadbhave sadhu bhave cha
sat iti etat pariyujyate
tat iti etat pariyujyate
प्रशस्ते कर्मणि तथा
prasaste karmani tata
सत् सच्छद्भः पारथा युज्यते
satchadva padayutyate
यज्ञे तपसि दाने च
yagne tapesi tapasi
तपसि दाने
dane
च
cha
स्थिति सद् इति कुच्यते
sthiti saditi chochyate
चोच्यते थैंक यू प्रभु कर्म चैव तदर्थीयम्
karma chaiva tadartiyam
सत् इति एव विद्यते
sad iti eva diyate.
It says the absolute truth.
You can keep it closer.
Absolute. I don't know why this is going that side. I can't understand. Okay. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional service, and it is indicated by the word Tat. The performer of such sacrifice is also called Sat. Very interesting. What is that? The absolute truth is the objective of devotional service, which means Supreme Lord Krishna is the objective of all the devotional service, which is indicated by Sat. But even the performer of such sacrifice is also called as Sat, as are all works of sacrifice, penance, and charity, which true to the absolute nature, are performed to please the Supreme Person, O son of Partha, again indicating the same point. The word prasatte karmani or prescribed duties indicated that there are many activities prescribed in Vedic literature, which are purificatory processes, beginning from the time of conception up to the end of one's life. We see so many activities nowadays. People don't even follow that. But if you remember our time, when the kid is born, there is another samskara. When he starts speaking, there is another samskara. Then you have thread samskara, right? Then before marriage also there is samskara. So there were the nowadays nobody follows that stuff, right? So unfortunate thing. Such purificatory processes are adopted for ultimate liberation of the living entity. In all such activities, it is recommended to vibrate Om Tat Sat. The word Sat Bhave or Sadhu Bhave indicates a transcendental situation. Acting in Krishna consciousness is called Sattva, and one who is fully conscious of activity of Krishna consciousness is called Sadhu. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam said that the transcendental subject matter becomes clear in the association of devotees. Right? So, the word Tad Artham further meaning offering service to anything which represents Supreme, including such service as cooking and helping in Lord's temple or any kind of work for broadcasting the glories of the Lord. We should always say Hari Om Tat Sat. I've started after reading this, I say this verse because this is important. Even if I have hidden agenda behind the scene because the mind is deadliest enemy for all of us, Hari Om Tat Sat, that I'm offering everything to Lord Vishnu. Okay, so we will read text 28. Ashraddhaya hutam datam dattam
Ashraddhaya hutam dattam
tapastaptam kritam chaya
tapastaptam kutam chayat
Asad iti uchyate partha
Asad iti uchyate pada
nacha tat pratyano iha.
tacha tatpretyano iha.
Anything done as sacrifice, charity, and penance without faith in Supreme, O son of Partha, is impermanent. It is called asat and is useless both in this life and next life. So anything we do which is not around Krishna is impure. Second paragraph, Prabhupada clarifies in the conditioned state, the state we are in, people are attracted to worshipping demigod, ghosts, yakshas like Kuvera. The mode of goodness is better than the mode of passion and ignorance, but one who takes directly to Krishna consciousness is transcendent to all three modes of nature. This is the ultimate thing. Although there is a process of gradual elevation, if one by the association of pure devotee takes directly to Krishna consciousness, that is the best way. Like going on 100th floor, yes, if I go by staircase 1, 2, 3, 4, ultimately I'll reach to 100th floor. Or I take an escalator, directly go to 100th floor. That's bhakti, which comes with a lot of responsibility, like we were just talking last time. That if I'm given a shortcut, like for an example, a 10th grader going to PhD, I have to prepare myself that I am able to take care of PhD, right? Because we are directly going to Bhakti. So Bhakti is simple but not easy. That's the thing Prabhupada mentioned, right? And to achieve success in this way, one must first find the proper spiritual master and receive training under his direction. Ultimately, everything boils down to have a guru. A guru who is in parampara, coming directly from Krishna, and then help us to take us away from this material world to the spiritual. He should be able to guide us at every step. We gave an example about Narada Muni, how um, the hunter who actually later became Vyasdev, what was his name? I forget the names.
Valmiki Prabhupada.
Valmiki was the name he was given after he got initiated by his name was something else. I forgot the name. So Narada Muni told him, you say Rama. He couldn't say Rama. He said Mara. So he says, okay, you say Mara, 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 like that. And after continuous chanting, he started chanting Rama, Rama because he got purified. Why he wasn't able to chant the Rama? Because he was so sinful. So by the mercy of Narada Muni, he became Valmiki. Can you imagine? A hunter who's killing people can become. That's the power of Guru. Even if we don't have inclination to practice bhakti, I just have a desire that I want to do it, but I can't do it. We should find out a guru. We should take shelter from him because the moment we get a shelter, our train goes from speed 10 to 100 directly because now you have mercy. That's the thing, right? So that's the whole thing which was discussed here. With that, I think we finished text chapter 17. Now we come back to text 18. Any questions or comments? Okay, so we will start. We read few verses of chapter 18. Chapter 18 is titled as Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. This is the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So congratulations. We are about to finish 18 chapter. We are starting 18 chapter. We will soon finish that. Prabhupada mentions that Bhagavad Gita was only 17 chapters. Now it's a whole summary about all chapters. So first verse is very important. Second verse is very important. I think Prabhupada mentions in first verse, but then mentions further. So 18.1 Arjuna Vacha
Arjuna Vacha
Sannyasaya Mahabaho
Sannyasasya Mahabaho
Sannyasasya Mahabaho. Thank you. Tatvam Ichhami Veditum
Tattvamiccami Veditam
Tyagasya Kesha
Yagasya cha Hrishikesha
Prathakkeshi Nishudana.
Pratakkeshi Nishutana.
Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, which is Tyag, and the renounce order of life, which is Sannyas. He wants to understand Tyag and Sannyas. O killer of the Keshi demon. So, Keshi demon, our doubts are like demons. So Krishna is being called as Keshi demon, killer of Keshi demon, right? What is that? Keshi Nisudana. That is the name. Krishna has various names. So based on the context, Arjuna is asking, Master of the senses, Rishi Kesha, right? So Prabhupada now gives the whole summary of whatever we have studied so far and what is there in 18. Actually, the Bhagavad Gita is finished in 17 chapters. The 18th chapter is supplementary summarization of the topics discussed before. In every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna stresses that devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is ultimate goal of life. You see, whether we are on Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Prabhupada and the purport brings us to Bhakti Yoga. One time, there were very scholarly people, so Brahmanas. They came to Prabhupada. Swamiji, here there is no mention of Krishna. You mentioned in the purport Krishna in the verse. Okay, Prabhupada said, in which what are the other verses? In this chapter, this verse, there is no Krishna mentioned, but you added Krishna. What else? This chapter, this verse, there is no Krishna, you added that. What else? This chapter, this verse in it. So they kept going on. And then after they are done, Prabhupada said, thank you. They left. So disciples were thinking, why Prabhupada didn't answer? Prabhupada said, these are Brahmanas, Vedic, but they have no understanding about Krishna. They never chanted the name of Krishna. I was asking them so that those many times they chant the name of Krishna. See, this is the Guru who knows what exactly has to be done for this disciple, right? So one time, um, this movie was launched by Devanand. You remember that old movie, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna? They just created a song.
Okay.
There was a movie by they basically mimic the Hare Krishna people. They are taking ganjas and all that stuff. So so Prabhupada disciples became really angry. So they brought the newspaper to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, look at this, what they are doing. They are trying to criticize our movement. And Prabhupada asked them, give me the newspaper. And Prabhupada read the newspaper. So he was counting how many times Krishna they chanted in that newspaper. It was like wonderful. They are preaching, right? Their motto was wrong. Their motivation was wrong. But Prabhupada was always seeing good. Arey, they are doing this thing, right? So that's the whole idea. So the same point is summarized in 18th chapter as the most confidential path of knowledge. In the first 6 chapter, stress was given to devotional service. Yoginam api sarvesham. Of all the yogis or transcendental, one who always thinks of me within himself is the best. In the next 6th chapter, pure devotional service and its nature and activities were discussed, like a sandwich. First six, last six, and in between is the real crux, right? That's pure bhakti. In the third 6 chapters, knowledge, renunciation, and activities of material nature and transcendental nature and devotional service were described. Right? It was concluded that all acts should be performed in conjunction with the Supreme Lord, represented by words Om Tat Sat, which indicates Vishnu, the Supreme Person. The third part of Bhagavad Gita has shown that devotional service, nothing else, is the ultimate purpose of life. This has been established by citing past acharyas and Brahma Sutra, the Vedanta Sutra. Certain impersonalists, what are impersonalists? So we are personalists. We think Krishna has a form. Krishna has a beautiful flute. He plays with his friends. Impersonal thing that Krishna is a light, which is not true. There is a light emanating from Krishna's body, but light is not this thing, right? Like and heat and light is the byproduct of fire, but they are not fire. Am I making sense? This is described in 15th chapter. In every scripture, every Veda, devotional service is the objective. As in the second chapter, the synopsis of whole subject matter was described, the science of the soul in second chapter, right? The 18th chapter also summary of all instruction is given. The purpose of life is indicated to be renunciation and attainment of transcendental position. We are doing renunciation, but by doing bhakti rather than doing tyaga. So here Arjuna is asking what is the difference between what is tyaga and what is sannyas, right? Let's read words to Sri Bhagavan
Shri
Vacha
Bhagavan Vacha
Kamayanam Karmanam Nyasam
Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam
Sannyasam Kavayo Viduhu
Sanyasam Kavayo Viduhu
Sarvakarma Phala Tyagam
Sarvakarma Phalatyagam
Prahuhus Tyagam Vichikshanaha Vichikshana.
Tyagam Vikshana.
Krishna said the giving of the activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call as a renounced order of life. What is sannyas? Giving up the activities that are based on material desire. So what we are doing, we are exactly doing opposite to that. We are working, we are taking care of other things, but purpose is behind what? That I want to take care of family, I want to take care of, I want enjoyment. Ideally, we want to go beyond that. I want to do all these activity for pleasure of Krishna, to maintain the body so that I can practice bhakti. That is not the mood, that is how we want to land into, but that is sannyas. And giving up the results of all activities, what wise call is renunciation. So what is that? First, what is the difference in sannyas? The giving of activity that are based on material desire. So I don't have a material desire. That is called as sannyas. And giving up the results of all activities. You understand? First, the desire is not there for material enjoyment. Second is whatever fruit come, I'm not attached to that one either, right? Giving up the results of all activities called as tyaga, right? Prabhupada mentions in the purport, the performance of activity for result has to be given up. What is that? Activities for results. I shouldn't be expecting result. If it comes, great. If it doesn't come, it's fine. Like Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya, he was there near Udupi sometime, and there was a big merchant, very wealthy merchant, who was going in the boat. During those times, they used to carry things to sell to different places. So they will come in the boat and then sell and then earn huge sum of money. So this merchant, his boat was stuck, and Madhvacharya indicated him how he can get away with the boat. So the boat was rescued. So he wanted to offer something to Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya didn't ask him. He said, "Oh, you know what? I'm coming from Dwarka, so I have Gopi Chandan, which we apply here. Would you like to take some?" So he said, "Yeah, that if you want to give, you give that." So he gave a big pile. When he was bringing, fell from his hand, and actually there was a Krishna deity within that. So that is the Udupi Krishna and Udupi. So that is what is Madhvacharya asking? I don't want anything. You want to give something? Give me this. So then apply. So ultimately we say, what is our value? Our value is like mitti. Because when we die, we will just become like a mitti. There is no value of what we have, right? So in the Vedic literature, there are many prescription of methods for performing sacrifice for some particular purpose. There are certain sacrifice to perform to attain a good son, attain elevation to higher planet, but sacrifice prompted by desire should be stopped. Right? However, sacrifice for the purification of one's heart or advancement in spiritual science should not be given up. That is what we should be doing. That we should perform sacrifice. What is the sacrifice we do? Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is the sacrifice. Our time, our tongue is like an ahuti in the Yajna Kunda, and we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Right? So that's the verse 2. Let's read verse 3 and we will end there. त्याज्यं दोषावद् इति एके
त्याज्यं दोषावदित्येके
कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः
कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः
यज्ञदाना तपः कर्म
यदानातपः कर्म
न त्यज न त्याज्यम् इति चापरे.
न त्याज्य न त्याज्यामिति चापरे.
Some learned men declare that all kind of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty. Yet others say sages maintain that act of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. Prabhupada clarifies in the purport. There are many activities in the Vedic literature which are subjects of contention. There are different perspectives. For instance, it is said that the animal can be killed in a sacrifice. Yet some maintain that animal killing is completely abominable. Although animal killing in the sacrifice is recommended in the Vedic literature, the animal is not considered to be killed. The sacrifice is to give a new life to animals. Sometimes the animal is given a new animal life after being killed in the sacrifice. And sometimes the animal is promoted immediately to the human form of life. But there are different opinions among the sages. Some say the animal killing should be avoided, and others say that for a specific sacrifice it is good. All these different opinions on sacrificial activity are now being clarified by the Lord Himself. So, question for all of you: what do you think is right? Killing of animals or not killing of animals?
maybe those days where, yeah, as you said, probably there were
Mm.
I mean, nice, good scholar brahmanas.
Mm. Mm.
Now it is not required.
Very good point. Earlier times, by reciting the mantras, the animal will get a human body. So it's a promotion, not a demotion. But in today's world, why animals are killed? Not to promote them, but
To
to,
eat.
yeah, right? That is a wrong perspective. When you put yourself in the agenda rather than the benefit, when you're thinking yourself to be a benefiter or beneficiary versus the other one, which means that's not a legit one, right? So if animal can get a higher birth and they are not that you go left and right and kill, no, right? It is just they get a higher birth, and that is by reciting proper mantras. If I am killing animals thinking, oh, Shastra said, right, you can kill the animal, but for giving them human birth, are you giving them, are you reciting mantra? No, I'm just using it for my tongue. That's why animal killing is not right. Okay, so I think with that we will end here. We will start text 4 from next week. Any questions or comments? All set?
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. I think thank you so much. Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Momita Mata, do you want to add something? All set. Okay, perfect. No problem. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining in. We will continue from text 4 next week. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.